Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again to another video. So we're back again with another database management systems question set, as you read from the title. We still need some work to be done in the eShop, but as soon as we're done with that, we'll get to it. So today we're going to do the questions at 22. There's some different types of questions we need to do. So without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the question set 22. And as you can see right here, we have the first question here. It says, find the details of the students who participated in the single subject in the examination held on 2020, 3rd, and 15. Right. So this is what we have to do. We have to find all the details of the student all the details of the students who wrote the single subject exam in this date. So let's go to the Hades SQL. So let me just type in the query right here. There we go. So as you can see, let me just explain this query right here. As you can see, I selected all the data from the student table because we need to find all the student details. So of course, as you can see, I've given it a condition, which is the index number, and I've given it a subquery in, since there is more than one index number. So yeah. So as you can see down here, I've given it an inner join. I joined it with the subject table. And again, I've joined that table with the student exam mark table, to find which subject ID and of course the exam marks, of course, which is how we find all that. And of course, down here we have the inner join. I've given it the exam term table to choose which term, and of course to find which term of it. And of course, I've joined it with the student exam marked record table to find all the details of the students which have joined on that certain term. And down here, I've given it the where clause and the conditions, which of course the subject name and of course the term date. Right. So let me just run this query right here. And as you can see right here, we get all the details of the students who wrote the English and literature exam on this certain date right here. As you can see. These are the student details, as you can see right here. So that was the answer for the first question. Now that we're done here, let's go to the next one. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the second question right here. As you can see here, it says Sandun Vijayaratne find out the marks of the examinations in which the student appeared on 2020 March 15th. The date of the examination, the term, the number of admissions, the name, and the name of the subject. So basically, you have to find the marks, the date of the examination, the term, and everything else about Sandun Vijayaratne. Right, so let's go here to the Hades and let me just type in my query. Right, so here we are. It's a pretty big query, so let me just explain everything right here. So as you can see, I given it a select statement right here to select the student's index number, first name, last name, and of course from the class table I chose the class name, from the subject table I chose the subject name, and from the exam term table I chose the term name and of the term date. And from the exam mark record table, I chose the mark. So choose find all of his marks in it as well. And of course, I've given it an inner join, and I've given it an on statement, as you can see right here. I joined it with the subject table, which is of course we choose the subject for subject table, and from the student exam mark record table, I chose the subject ID column to find which subject. And of course, as you can see right here, here's the subject table. I given it the subject ID, and another inner join turning with the exam term, and of course I given it an on subquery, which is joined with the exam mark record table, which will choose the exam term ID column, and of course exam term, and to identify it, we use the exam term table's term ID column. Of course, I've given it another inner join. A lot of inner joins, I know. I inner joined it with the student table with the student exam mark record. Of course, from that we chose the column student index number, and of course from the student table to identify it we use the index number, and of course another inner join which is the class table, and I joined it with the student table and chose the class ID, and of course to identify it we given it the class ID column from the class table. And of course here right here we given it the conditions we need. The conditions of course were given that the term date, and of course the student's first name and the last name was also given us conditions. So let me just run the query right here and let me show you everything. And here we go. This is the details of the student right here. As you can see right here, it's shown here. We have his index number, of course his last name, his class name, the subjects he faced, which term, which is the first term he faced, and of course the exam term date. And here of course are his marks which he faced on all 3 subjects on that specific term in that date. So now that we're done here, let's go to the next question. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, here we are. The third question right here. It says, find the name, subject, marks, term of the examination, date of the examination of the students who obtained between 40 and 70 marks in the subject of mathematics held on 2020 7th 10th. Right, so let's go to the HDSQL, and let me just paste in my code right here. There we go. As you can see, I have my query right here. As you can see, I selected the first name from the student table and the last name as well, and of course I chose the term name and the term date from the exam term table, and of course I chosen mark for the student exam mark table. That's what I selected, and of course I used all that from the student exam mark record table, as you can see right here. And of course in the inner join, I given it an inner join and joined it with the subject, and I given it an on subquery with the student exam mark record. From the student exam mark record, I chosen the subject and subject ID, which is from subject, and to identify it, I've given it the subject ID column from the subject table. Same can be said here in the inner join for the exam term. As you can see, I given it an on subquery with the student exam mark record, and from the I chosen exam term ID, which is foreign into the exam term table right here. And of course to identify it, I given it the chosen the term ID from the exam term table. And down here of course another inner join which is for the student table, and an on subquery to the student exam mark record table, which from that table I've chosen student index number, which is of course is foreign to the student. It's a foreign key to the student table. And to identify it, I've given it chosen the index number column from the student table. And of course, as you can see, I've given it a where clause and given the conditions. The conditions, of course, the date of that exam, and of course the subject name, which is mathematics. And as you can see right here, I've given it another subquery, which is the between subquery. Basically, it said we have to choose between 40 and 70. So right here, as you can see, I've given between. And so let me just run the query right here, as you can see. And right here we go. We have our data right here. As you can see, the students Sajun Vijayaratne, Sachitra Vikramasinghe, and Kasun Rajamantiri. Yeah. So those 3 students are the ones who got the marks between 40 and 70. As you can see right here on the second term exam table, which is of course matches the date that we given right here. So yeah, that's the third question right here. Now that we're done here, let's go to the fourth and final question. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the fourth and final question right here. As you can see here, it says, who is the highest scoring student in the first term out of all the subjects? Right, so we gotta find out who scores the most out of the entire first term. So let me just paste the query right here. Right here, as you can see right here, I selected the first name and the last name from the student table, which are both from the student table. And of course, to identify them, I given it a where clause and used the index number. And of course, I given it an in1 right here, since there's more than one index number. So of course, as you can see right here, I selected the student index number from the student column from the student exam mark record, from the student exam mark record, where it is in the first column in the student exam mark record. And of course, I've given it another in subquery because there's more than one. And of course, I've given it select max since I need all the t values. As you can see right here, I selected the mark column from the student exam mark record, from the student exam mark record, and I give it an inner join. I join it with the exam term since we're supposed to be finding the first term, and of course I given it an on-sub query, and joined it with the student exam mark record table, and then from that table I chose the exam term ID, which is of course the foreign key to this exam term table. And to identify it, I given it an exam term, and I chose the term ID for the exam term table. And of course we give it our one and only condition, which is the first term name, which is of course the only condition which was given to us. So let me run this and find the answer. And here it is. Amanda Moses is the one who got the highest out of all the students in the first term. Right, so now that we've done all the questions right here, let's go to the end of the video. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for today. And yes, that is the question set 22. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys found this video helpful. Hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.